gonna set up right on my wall. SeaWorld seems like a fun, harmless place where you get to see marine shows and watch aquatic animals in their natural habitat. It is a very popular attraction, and if you've been to Orlando, Florida, there's a good chance you've been there. I visited when I was 10, and at the time I thought all of these statements were true. But the truth is, the animals are subjected to unfair containment and abuse in the captivity of the park. Over 4.5 million people visit the park a year and do not realize the harm being done to the animals. Today, I'm going to talk about the horrible tanks that the animals are kept in, the health risks, and the survival rates, and how SeaWorld puts these animals in harm. First, I'm going to tell you about the safety issues with the tank. Like people, frustration and psychological issues can happen in animals. Imagine living in the massive open ocean and then being captured and stuck into a small pool for the rest of your life. Being captive is emotionally straining. In 20 years, SeaWorld's animals have been reasons that 4 humans have died. The article, Future of SeaWorld, by Katie Javanad states, the behavior of Tilikum the orca was involved in several of these attacks and may be interpreted as aggressive. His behavior suggests that growing and unmanageable levels of stress because of being held captive. The Whale and Dolphin Conservation Charity, WCD, has calculated that SeaWorld's orcas would need to circulate their enclosure 1,400 times to swim the distance they would in the wild. Repetitive behavior leads to psychological distress, and in animals, it is called psychosis. The tanks already seem bad enough with psychological issues, but there are also physical issues that come to play. Normally in nature, orcas and dolphins live in pods. This is a social structure that is lifelong. Mothers and calves are never separated, and it is a family. In SeaWorld, this isn't how it works. They choose who your family is. The pods are artificial, so the natural communication within the pod turns to competition. This leads to aggression, which leads to injury, according to Sleepless in SeaWorld by Pediatrics. According to SeaWorldOfHurt.com, SeaWorld captured 2 sharks from the ocean and put them in an enclosure. Within 3 days, they had run into the wall, sunk to the bottom, and they were both dead. The tanks are also of insufficient depth. This causes dorsal fin collapse, and it is 100% happen in male orcas and very common in female orcas. It is extremely dangerous and horrible for them. I already told about the harmful effects of the tank, but there are many more health risks that I'm going to tell about. SeaWorld likes to say that they are helping the animals. And if you look on their website, it'll say, make a change today, come visit. But the animals in the park disagree. Malnourishment is commonly found in captive creatures. The amount of money that the orcas generate for SeaWorld should buy them a comparative diet to the one that they would have in the wild. But sadly, all they receive is frozen fish. The lack of hunting already promotes an issue, but the normal diet of seals to only frozen fish leaves them without proper nutrition and leads to very severe malnourishment. Also, according to Javanad, bacterial infections are another common issue. The vets are extremely busy with bacterial infections, so they just pour powerful antibiotics into the tank. This sounds like it would work, but it only leads to more severe bacterial infections. This also eventually leads to even more treatment. As an example, Orca castaka suffered from a bacterial infection for 10 years. It only got worse until it caused her death. There are many issues in the park, but the worst one of all is the survival rates. According to Fate of Orcas by uswhales.org, in the wild, male orcas live 50 to 60 years, and in females, 80 to 90 years. The maximum age recorded at SeaWorld was 12 years. And many even died before that. Suman died at the age of 12. Shamu died at the age of 10. And Nayar died at the age of 2. Also, 12 dolphins were put into a tank, and in 6 months, 6 of them have died. The survival of the babies and the mothers is also very poor. Nayung, a beluga whale abducted at the age of 6, was used for artificial insemination. He was removed from the tank 42 times to collect his sperm. 6 of the babies that used his sperm died at the birth. Naim died later, with his jaw being shattered from removal for the 43rd time, attempting to collect his sperm again. Tyarka was an orca that was inseminated by his sperm, many times separated from her mom and her 2 children, which I already said is not supposed to happen. Her 1 daughter died at the age of 3 months, and the rest died at birth. There's still endless amounts of horror being done at SeaWorld, and there's more to come if the doors stay open. SeaWorld's captivity and places like it are not healthy and unnecessary torment. Animals are brutally stolen out of the wild, placed into captivity. The small, horrible tanks, the many health risks, and the premature death are problems that should not happen, and SeaWorld should not be able to subject animals to this. It is torture that will hopefully no longer go overlooked.